Hey Nerd Hatters, let's talk about in perpetuity. What exactly is in perpetuity, and is it something that you should do? In perpetuity means forever. Now this is something you'll see come up when it comes for commercials. Like for example, if you go to Actors Access, if it says we'll pay you $300 and under the use it explains that the terms are in perpetuity. So that again, that is forever. Now, should you do something in perpetuity? For some people in certain markets, like the Southeast, they'll say like, oh, well, the only thing we see coming through to us in Florida is in perpetuity. And if we don't take that, then we won't get any work. The challenge with that is that you might end up getting a bigger project later on down the line that would discredit you from being able to keep that project. I'll tell you this, if I was your coach or you were my friend, I would tell you, don't ever take in perpetuity. There is a story out there. I've tried to go through and validate this, but I haven't been able to so far. So take it with a grain of salt. But one of the stories is that Flo from Progressive, that she actually wasn't their first choice. There was someone else that they had in mind. And when they did their research, they ended up finding out that that person still had a commercial going on for insurance in their hometown. If that is true, luckily for that person, this was discovered before they actually got hired and started filming for it. Now, when I worked on set, doing background, one of the second ADs had come in during one of the breaks and was talking to us because they knew that a lot of us were actors. Some people, they're just there, that's their extra money they earn, whether it's to go golf or shopping or whatnot, but there is a chunk of us who do see this as our profession. And the second AD told us to make sure we never do anything in perpetuity, that she had a friend that she had made who booked a national commercial for a car dealership or for a car. They booked the commercial, they shot it, it was airing, and then they come to find out that she had a commercial still running in her hometown for another car dealership, and it was for the competitor. So what happens, the thing is, when you go through and you get hired, or even when you're submitted for a commercial, you're supposed to disclose any type of conflicts. If it's fast food, you can't have a Burger King commercial out if you just got hired from McDonald's, those types of things. The problem is when it's in perpetuity, it can be used forever. Now, typically when you book a national commercial, it should be for like 3 months or 6 months or a year. There's a certain limited of time. And that's also why they pay you good money, because basically you can't work for that chunk of time because you're now the face of that product. Now for this woman, it turned out that that commercial was still running, but they found that out after she was hired. Now you then have to pay the damages for that, for the fact that that other commercial is running, which is basically the cost of reshooting that entire commercial, which is most likely going to be millions of dollars. But just realize that in perpetuity, it means forever. And though that $300 and sometimes even $6,000 that they want to offer you now for something that's in perpetuity, down the future, it may not be worth it. There might be something else that you are a perfect fit for, but because that commercial is still running elsewhere, you can't go forward with it. And the other thing that can happen too is you might have done that commercial like 10, 15 years ago, and you just honestly forget about it. And you go for another audition for something else, not realizing that you had done something like this years ago, and that ends up being a conflict and something bad for you. And it's also bad indicator for your reps because they'll get a reputation like, oh wait, they submit people who've already done things in perpetuity. I don't want that problems. I know that if I go with so-and-so's agency, I never have challenges like that. So again, if you were my friend, if I was coaching you, I would tell you never, ever, ever, ever take anything in perpetuity. Now, again, you have to make your own decisions about where you are financially and what you want to do, but you also want to think about the long haul and what's best for you. And someone else owning your image and your likeness, you may not want them to have the rights to use your image, your likeness as the sponsor for that company, especially as things change over time. Sometimes the mission statement of a company is one thing at one period, but then 5 years later, they've changed the mission statement to something else, and you may not want to be associated with that type of mission statement or brand anymore. So it's just certain things like that to think about. I look forward to seeing you guys work on the screen.